Now joined by the insiders, Chris Johnston and Pierre LeBrun. Guys, we were at practice yesterday, and based on what we saw, we did not think there was going to be any Leafs lineup changes. It was the same alignment, but now, CJ, it's looking like there will be a shakeup in Game 5.
Yeah, well, everything changed before Game 5 because of the way attendance went and didn't go. At this point, it does look to me as though Nick Robertson will draw into the lineup for this game. Wouldn't be surprised if David Kampf joined him in terms of players coming in. None of this should be said as confirmed at this stage, but just given kind of the way things were lining up there, and I think it does make some sense. Look, not only are the Leafs coming off being shut out in the last game at Florida, but with Robertson, I think there's an opportunity to reunite him with Bobby McMahon, also snake-bitten, hasn't scored in 21 games, and Max Domi. That line had success at 5-on-5 in the regular season. It's one here at home I think that Craig Berube can feel a little more comfortable with just in terms of the kind of matchups he finds them and making sure he's not putting them in a tough spot defensively. And his team needs some scoring, and so that would make a lot of sense. Kampf hasn't played at all yet in these playoffs, and so I think you're going to see an injection of fresh legs here for the Leafs with this getting to a crucial part of this series.
Kampf has not played since April 2nd when he got hurt in a game against the Panthers here. He wasn't on the ice this morning at the optional skate, usually the scratches skate, which is why we believe he is likely to draw in tonight. All right, so a lineup change for the Leafs, and we expect the matchups are going to change as well. We saw down in Florida, Paul Maurice go away from Alexander Barkov and Austin Matthews, and so Matthews looking for that first goal tonight, likely to see the Selke Trophy winner against him. It's a big challenge, Pierre.
Yeah, and listen, it's not to take away from the fact that Austin Matthews has to find a way at this time of year to score. I mean, he's one of the greatest goal scorers in the entire game, so that doesn't change that narrative, but he is going up against some formidable matchups in this series. And you mentioned in Florida it was actually Anton Lundell matched up. He's like baby Barkov, okay? I mean, his mentor is Sasha Barkov, who probably will get him in this game. And, Paul Maurice talked about that this morning, that you don't want to take for granted what it's like to be around Alexander Barkov day in and day out for the Florida Panthers. He mentioned that he thinks Barkov made 2 mistakes in the entire season, and they like to poke fun at him when he makes a mistake. And then so that's what Matthews goes up against, arguably the most complete 200-foot player in the entire game, and that's going to be daunting for him tonight.
Florida's top line should be weaker in theory tonight because Evan Rodriguez is out. Jesper Bolkvist comes in and will play on that top line beside Barkov and Sam Reinhart. We'll see if the Leafs can exploit that at all. All right, so it's 2-2 in the series. Game 5, Leafs are at home. Pierre, who do you think is more comfortable in this spot?
Well, Florida, it's home away from home. They love being in enemy rinks. I look at their record since the start of the 23 playoffs. We've touched on it before, but if they lose tonight, it'll be the first time they go 0-3 in a playoff series since the Cup final in Vegas. They just don't lose a lot of games on the road. They're comfortable. Not having last line change. They're comfortable with the hostile crowd. Look at the makeup of their lineup. They love this stuff. So that's the challenge for the Toronto Maple Leafs, is that the Panthers come in here very confident they can get a road win.
Well, and from the Leafs end of this, I don't know how comfortable they are here, but this is actually the moment where they can change everything, right? So much discussion all year long. Is this team going to be different? Are they going to go on a longer run? Well, the reason they haven't is they haven't won enough of these games. The 2 playoff series they've won in this era, they didn't win from 2-2. They were further ahead in both those series at 3-1. This is the chance for the teams that have long playoff runs as you find a way to get it done in Games 5, Game 6, and Game 7 if necessary. And so, well, yes, it hasn't been perfect for Toronto in this series. There's some individuals under a certain amount of heat. I think they have to seize on the opportunity because a whole lot of narratives can be thrown right out the window here if the Leafs have a strong Game 5 and then find a way to finish off this series.
In this era, in the Austin Matthews era, Leafs 1-4 when hosting Game 5.